Hi, and welcome to Split the E podcast. If you haven't heard, I take artists out for a pint to get to know them a little bit better and to shine a light on them. In this week's episode, it's episode 7, and we have Matty Miller. Yo, what's happening, man?
Touché.
Yeah, we're in Facebook right now. We're in the metaverse.
That's it.
Yeah. How are you, man? I'm
good.
I seen you last weekend. I fucking loved the show.
Thanks, man.
How did it all begin?
How did it begin?
Yeah. Cheers as well.
Sláinte. Would you believe guitar isn't my first instrument?
No way.
So, I guess I have ADHD, and so my parents really tried to put me into different things to control me and like get rid of some of my energy.
Yeah.
So I was always in sports, and then
What sports were you doing?
rugby, hockey, soccer, pretty much baseball, everything.
Sweet.
They're just trying to burn me out.
Yeah, they're doing it the right way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They didn't want to medicate me.
Yeah, no, fuck
that. Thanks to them. But yeah, music was like the next thing on their list. So I guess I started piano when I was 6 years old.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I was playing piano, doing recitals and things until I was like probably 10. And then I remember I have a really faint memory of learning the guitar when I was 8. And I was trying to learn John Denver's Leaving on a Jet Plane, but my fingers were too small.
Oh,
so
no
I couldn't
way.
I couldn't reach a C, I couldn't do a G. And so I was just like, this is the stupidest instrument ever, I'm going to quit. So I quit.
I went back to the piano?
Went back to piano. I hated being in structure. I really didn't like people telling me what to do and like a schedule. And so I quit piano.
Yeah.
And then my dad was like, why don't you pick up that guitar again and see?
Yeah.
And this time, like, my fingers fit. I was bigger. I could like kind of hit the chords a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it kind of
Would you ever
started
try
from there.
just thinking that, like, would you ever even try the ukulele because it's smaller, or that wasn't
It's not
even-
rock and roll.
You wanted straight up rock and roll.
Yeah, pretty much.
Were you influenced by your parents with the rock and roll?
Yeah, so my mom is more of like a kind of adult contemporary music listener.
Yeah.
So like Harry Belafonte, some like Sinatra
Yeah.
and stuff. But my dad, I sent you that picture. He's an old rock and roll kind of rock
It's the
star.
coolest little picture. Unreal.
Yeah, so he, I remember him, I must have been 12, and I was learning, like, do, re, mi, or something stupid on guitar, and he came over and he slapped, like, Led Zeppelin tab down on, like, the amp, and I was like, why don't you try this? And so I think I remember
How
learning.
long were you in? You were started at 6 doing the guitar, or?
I started back up at 12,
yeah.
so I'm like a mid-teenager,
Okay.
full of spunk.
Yeah.
And so I was like, Led Zeppelin sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so I remember just like trying to learn, I think it's Black Dog,
Right.
but it was like,
Yeah.
so trying to learn that, and then I kind of got that and was like, okay, I like this rock and roll, I like this distortion stuff on here. And then I think my dad one day, I was showing him like, this is the early days of the internet and like torrenting music. LimeWire. Yeah, exactly. There's another one called BearShare, which was like a weird like.
I was thinking of Napster, like
it's like kind of like that, but then you could like chat with people.
Oh, cool.
And talk about music and stuff.
That
Anyways,
actually would be a cool like app. I suppose.
Yeah, so you would, like-
Spotify with chat would be cool. You know what I mean?
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So you could rip off artists' music
Oh.
and then talk to other people about it.
I suppose that's what comments are in YouTube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But
Back in
he
the day, yeah.
he was like, can you type in this song? And I typed it in. It was Crosstown Traffic by Jimi Hendrix,
Oh, nice.
which is a cover, I think, of maybe a Bob Dylan song or something. But anyways, I heard that and I was like, oh my god, that came out of this guitar. And he was like, yeah, that's like guitar, man. And then I was like, okay, I think I'm in. And so that's kind of where the rock and roll like came from, I guess. Yeah.
That's sweet.
Pretty cool.
I would drink for that. That's fucking unreal. Did was in your father's band? What he was a lead man or what was?
Yeah, so
Rock and
he's a good singer. And he's kind of like me. Like, I think in bands and in music, you kind of need to know your role.
Yeah.
And you need to know what you're good at and just focus on that, because it's hard to do everything. Like, it's hard to be a lead guitar and a singer and the drummer and the producer and do all this. So yeah, he's a really good chord rhythm player.
Yeah.
And a good singer. So he did some singing and played rhythm guitar in the band. And then they had bass, another guitar, a saxophone back in those days. Yeah, things like that. I always remember he told me the story. He was like super sick, and he had like a high school like just like open mic or like performance thing, and he had to like go up and sing like "Don't Be Cruel" by Elvis, and he had like his tonsils like removed and everything. But
it was cruel for him.
Don't be cruel. Yeah, exactly.
Ironic.
So yeah, that's where that came from.
So you grew up in Vancouver?
Yeah, kinda. I was born in Burnaby.
Nice.
If you ask my mom, she'll tell you I was in labor forever, and I was born at 4:44 a.m. on July 13th.
Oh, perfect.
So she's got all the stats.
Yeah.
But yeah, shortly after kind of childhood, we moved to the Philippines.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because my mom is Filipina,
Yeah.
and yeah, my dad's from England. So
How was like living in Philippines? How did that like mold your creativity of the music that was over there compared to the music that is here? Or was that just because you were in the bubble with your parents?
No, they're like surprisingly like party people.
They love karaoke, right?
Yeah, that's our national sport.
That and boxing.
Exactly.
I'll actually tell you, I used to work with a couple of Filipinos,
Yeah.
the nicest people ever, but they came to me one day, and they, I think I'm a mechanic, right? So in the car there was a Westlife, a boy band from Ireland.
Yeah.
And they were like, I found this in the car, play it.
Yeah.
I was like, how do you know Westlife?
Did they know it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was like, that's crazy. And they're like, karaoke, obviously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
They always have the weirdest shit over there. Like, I remember listening to like the Venga Bus
and
and
stuff. Are the Venga Boys.
Yeah, or like we like to party.
Yeah.
Or like sex bomb, like all those.
Tom Jones. Right?
Yeah, all those weird like songs. Like I feel like it's just like Filipinos like love white people and like Western culture so much that they're like, we don't know what any of this means, but it sounds good, so we're just gonna scream it like on a microphone in like the barrio is like what we call it. But yeah, over there we were on like a party island.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so my parents had like kind of like an Airbnb sort of thing going on, and we built a house. I went to school there, but it was like, if you look it up, it's called Boracay, and it's like this insane party island. Like picture like a Thai, like white sand. There's parties every night, and so like I grew up listening to like house music.
No way.
Yeah. So like
sweet.
There would be like there's always DJs, there's always parties and dancing and like fire shows. And I remember
what age were you? Were you old enough to go out and socialize at this time?
There's no rules there.
No way.
I was like 8 probably.
Okay, all right, cool.
That's where like my memories kind of like really are like vibrant. So like yeah, there's no rules. You can bring your kid to the club. You can bring your kid to like the bar.
Yeah. It's like old school Ireland.
They can't drink, but like
no,
whatever.
I know. Yeah.
You can come
you
dance.
can still, yeah.
And like they're very into like dancing and singing, so they're always like bring the kids and like
That's
make it like a family
so sick
like event. Yeah, but I remember, I guess I was maybe 12, maybe 16. I was living here, but we would go back every Christmas.
Yeah.
And like, there's this place in Boracay called the Mall. Or just D Mall, which is like a mall, but it's like an open air beach mall. And there was like a record store.
Oh, nice.
And the DJs would always go there because that store would get all the music in from the big city, and they would get it from the west. And so you'd get like Avicii from like this store, and like no one in the village had heard like Avicii. And, These DJs would be like, oh man, this is some fire shit. Like these guys are ready for this. And so like I remember like starting to listen to like Avicii, Swedish House Mafia, Benny Benassi, all those. And then, I actually had, fun fact, a short career DJing in the Vancouver nightlife.
Unreal.
And I think that actually really tied in to like playing live music now, because you learn a lot of different skills like DJing, I guess.
Yeah, I even like to like count the phrases and beats and stuff like that. Yeah, that's so sweet.
Yeah, BPMs. I think like crowd reading.
Yes.
Like looking at the crowd. What are we doing? Are we playing slow stuff? We're doing fast. People are dancing over there. Okay, we'll try and pump it up
And
so,
get
like,
them closer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you put on a dance tune, or like you put on like a sing along or something, and I feel like that's kind of what we do in the band too. Like
I definitely felt that like you were really like getting the
trying to
crowd,
pump it up.
You were getting the crowd going.
Yeah.
I actually was dancing.
Exactly. I saw you. It was pretty terrible.
I know. Yeah. Next time. Next time.
Exactly.
So when was your like first gig? When did you go, okay, I'm good enough to go and sing on stage?
Okay, in the pub scene here, it would have been an open mic night at Donnellan's. Probably around 2018.
Yeah.
I was living with a good friend of mine, Mo. He'll probably listen to this.
Shout out to Mo.
Shout out Mo.
Yeah.
Listen to this. You're in Stettler, Alberta now, but here we are. But I used to live with him, and he was really into guitar and singing, and we would like just jam.
Yeah.
And I never really, outside of like Catholic school choir, was like a singer.
Yeah.
And he was like, "No, I've heard you sing like upstairs in the shower. You can sing, man."
Dude, you can sing. Like,
yeah. And I was like, "I guess I'll try." So we would just like work every day. I'd come home, he'd have a guitar in his hand already on the couch, and he'd be like, "Let's learn this song, let's learn that." It really like pushed me, and then was like, "Dude, you could sing, you got this." And
so you didn't,
like, okay.
you trained instruments, but you never got trained
Yeah.
to sing when you were.
No.
That's so crazy.
No
You have to hear
formal
your,
singing,
yeah,
yeah.
man, that's so good.
And so one day we were just like walking around on Granville, and we saw this sign that said open mic night.
Yeah.
And I walked in and was like, "Man, this band is very, very good.
Yeah.
Very locked in." And like, you've been to Donlands.
Yeah,
so you know how you walk down the hall?
Yeah.
And then like the stage is over here?
Yeah.
And I turn over, guess who it is?
The Barge Boys.
No. Try harder.
Who is it?
Larry Kyo.
Come on.
The local legend. By himself on stage. No band, just him doing his loops, and I was like,
"Go on, Larry!"
I was like, "What?
Come on.
What is going on?" Shout out, Larry.
Yeah.
I was like, "How can this guy just produce this much sound coming out?"
Larry's the glue to Vancouver.
He is. He's like, honestly, he's given so many people their starts.
Yeah.
And so Larry was like, "Hey, sign up, get you guys on there," and then I was like, "Okay." We went up, we played. It was probably dog shit. I don't really remember, but then that was like my thing to do that summer, was go there every Thursday, hang out with Larry, work on music, do open mics.
No way.
And then I had like this old 1970s Yamaki acoustic guitar that I had bought, like an LR Bragg's like pickup, and I like put it in the sound hole.
Can you explain that to me? Because I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, so like with
Briefly,
acoustic, like usually you would mic the sound hole and like your frets.
Okay.
So that's how you would get sound.
Yeah.
Or if you buy an electric acoustic, you would just plug
Plug
it
it
in.
in, yeah.
And so the pickups would be inside, but this wasn't meant to be electric.
I think yeah.
So I bought like a pickup from Long McQuaid, which just like records the sound, and like shoved it in there and rigged it up somehow, and that's what I was playing with, and it didn't sound very good, but it was all I had. And then I think I saved up that summer, and I asked my parents if they would like help front some money for me so I could get an actual guitar and do
go
this.
for it, man, yeah.
And then they were like, "Yeah, we'll pay half, but you gotta."
Your old man must be like really
he was
proud.
like, "Yes!"
Yeah.
So yeah, I picked up like this Taylor 214. It's a pretty like, it's a really good guitar for the money. But after that, I just kept going to open mics, was playing, and then I was like, okay, I always set these goals like for myself. Like, okay, I'm at no gigs right now. My goal is attend open mic night all the time. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm at open mic night all the time. My goal is get a gig somewhere, Donlands,
man.
anywhere.
That's so
And
good
then-
for your head.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
always like working for something, and one day, I think Kieran, he runs the GPO in Gastown now,
Yeah.
but it used to be on Granville Strip,
Yes.
right by the bridge.
Yeah.
And he called me and he said, "Hey, Larry said you play some music. I need someone on Saturday." And I was like, I
Okay.
do play music, yes. And then he was like, "Okay, great. I'll see you Saturday." And in my head, I was like, "Holy shit! I only know 10 songs. Like, how am I going to get through 3 hours?"
Yeah.
And so I think every day after work, I just sat down and was like, learn a new song, learn a new song, learn a new song. And like by like that day, I had 30
Good
going.
stuff,
So I had
man.
like 20 I had learned in that like week or whatever.
Yeah.
They were all like easy 3-chord songs and things I'd like known before. But yeah, and then Kieran gave me my first gig at the GPO, where I had physical money exchanged, and there were physical people in the 3D world listening to me
And you.
and hopefully cheering. I don't know, but yeah, that was the first one, and then it just like snowballed after that.
That's sick.
So this guy Johnny used to run Johnny Fox's on Granville Street at that time, and he called me. And then the next thing, Jordan Flynn used to run Donlands, he called me and he was like, "Oh, your name's been passed around a few people, so I'd like to have you in." And then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and now, yeah, we're gigging every weekend almost.
So and then so that's you starting off on your own.
Yeah.
We're gonna cheers. We finish this.
Okay.
The split E challenge is coming right up.
Oh God.
Oh.
That's some good shtick on it.
It's creamy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very good.
Shout out to the Irish Header for having us here. Thank you very much.
Thank
For
you,
a lovely
Squire.
pint of Guinness. Oh yeah. This is the ticket.
Are we splitting it now?
Do you want to? You ready?
I don't know.
You can leave it settled.
I
for
gotta
a
get in
minute.
the headspace.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
it,
yeah. You've been practicing. I've been watching, man. You've been practicing.
5 years in coming. You know?
It's like all them open mic nights in
Yeah,
Irish
exactly.
stars. You're like, I
I'm
fucking love this shit
living
now.
for this moment.
Yeah. So you were going out on your own doing open mic nights, and then you got the ball rolling. How did you meet the Barge Boys?
Ooh, that's a really
Tune in
fun
after
question.
these messages. We're gonna have a go. Nah,
Welcome back to Facebook. The Barge Boys. Okay. Connor Andrews is our drummer.
yes.
So he runs a touch rugby league in the summer.
All right.
And I met him because before I started playing proper contact 15s rugby again, after my brief stint of university, I met him through that. I went to Portland, played some touch rugby down there, came back up, was playing, and he was always just like around, good friend. And one day last summer or spring,
You obviously knew he played drums, right?
I didn't.
No way.
No clue.
No.
So we never talked about it. We
It's
talked
just rugby,
about
yeah.
rugby
Yeah,
and like he's a Kiwi, he's from New Zealand, so
Yeah,
that's like a big
yeah.
cultural thing. And so one day I saw he was advertising for a gig, and I was like, "Dude, you play music?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm a drummer. I played like my whole life." And I was like, "Oh my God." And in my head, I was like, holy shit, I need to somehow connect with this guy and like figure out how to make things work.
At that time, were you just thinking of like jamming, or were you like, okay, I want to be in a band, or how were you thinking?
I think I just wanted to hang out with people on
Yeah,
stage,
yeah.
man. It's so lonely when you're a solo performer, especially those nights you're like playing and like people are just eating, and you're like, "Bring last chord, woo! Thanks, guys," and then it's just. Yeah. And then like one bartender, woo!
Yeah.
Clapping in the background. So yeah, it would be good to have some friends with me. So I was like, "Oh man, Connor, I'm totally down to check out your gig." And at that time, he was in a band called NSA, which which stood for No Strings Attached.
Nice.
That's a good
I
name.
like it.
So him, Hamish is our lead guitarist, and then Dr. Gary is our bassist. So they were in
Dr. Gary.
Dr. Gary.
Oh, shout out to him.
Yeah. So the three of them were already in a band. They had a cello player, another singer, and I can't remember if there was someone else. So they were doing a show, and they did it, and they rocked the house. It was amazing. But unfortunately, their cello player left and went back to Belgium, I think. And she was really the glue, and everything kind of fizzled out, and they didn't really do anything after that.
Unfortunate for them, but fortunate for you.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I come slippery all in there. But the really cool thing is, those three guys, Hamish, Connor, and Gary, all work together. And the reason why this band was formed was because their company has a music section in it.
What?
Yeah. So I don't really know the full story, but someone was like, oh, hey, there's a lot of people that work in this giant company that want to do music. And someone was like, yeah, sure, here's a blank check. And then now they've got like drum kit, like all these kind of things. So
oh my god.
They like had this whole band. And like there's all these different bands, like punk bands, jazz bands, and things like all in this company. It's really cool. Dude, they gotta bring this stuff to like Facebook. Yeah. Or like Instagram or something.
Zuckerberg,
like,
are you watching this?
All those big like things they need to like kind of, because it's really creative, right?
That's so cool. And like you want to go into work if your company are giving you all of this stuff too.
Exactly, yeah. And so the band fizzled out. Connor was messaging me. He was like, oh, do you want to do the jam? And in my head I was like, yeah. And outside I was like, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. And then, so it was funny. I'm pretty sure we were both doing the same thing, but I was going, man, I really want to jam with Connor and those guys and make a band work. Yeah. And I think they were going, why would he join us? He's on his own and he already has like stuff going on. At least that's what Hamish said. But
kind of makes sense though, you know?
Yeah, and then we jammed one session, just me, Connor, and Hamish. And then we jammed again, a second session, and it was like, do you know this song? Yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3, go. Boom, play it. All the way through, end. Okay. Do you know this song? Yep, okay, play it. All the way through, end. And then I was like, in my head, I was like, oh shit, this
feels good.
This is something. And then Gary came in one day, and he's the quietest American you'd ever meet. And he just kind of like walked in with his bass and was like, hey. And then like set up, and then we were like, do you know this song? He was like, yep. And then we just, boom, played it all together, and it was just like, it all just like clicked, you know?
That's what I was always wonder, from being like a solo singer, and then to actually like working with a band. Yeah. How do, like, I'm obviously like, all bands are different, but how did you find it working with the band? It seems like it just clicked for you, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like everyone is so talented in the band. Hamish is like an unreal lead guitarist.
I have that video of
him ripping, man. You're like cutting his fingernails with your camera. He's like unreal guitarist, really like technical, understands theory a lot. Connor is like an unreal progressive like drummer, and then Gary, international superstar. He's a doctor. He was in punk bands his whole life in Santa Barbara. He played, I don't know if you guys know because you're from Ireland, but it's a really huge festival back in the day called the Vans Warped Tour.
No, I haven't.
So it was like skateboarding, BMX, like all those extreme sports. They had like a half pipe in the middle of the festival. And then like bands would play like on the half pipe.
Was Jackass at it one year?
Yeah.
I think I've seen that, yeah.
That huge gig. Well, Gary played, he told me this like 2 weeks ago. I was like, was Celtic Fest the biggest gig you've ever played? Like there were 1,500 people there. And he was like, no, I played Vans Warped Tour one time. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So he's like an unreal bassist, really good jazz and like metal. He loves like all music. Yeah. So I think with the whole talent level like up high, it just kind of worked. And like had experience in jazz band in high school. I played like tenor saxophone for 4 years doing that.
Dude, you're a talented dude. Like,
Too many instruments.
does it come naturally to you?
Once you get like the different type of instrument, then it does. Like string, as soon as I got guitar, you can pick up a bass.
Yeah.
And then when I got my saxophone, like woodwind instruments, as soon as I picked up a harmonica, I was like, whoa, that's good. I got it. So it really transfers over. And then piano as a basis for everything is like a really good like theory. But in jazz band in high school, you learn to pick up cues from like your conductor or people you're playing with. So like there's always signals you send each other, like one more time, or like do it again, or something's wrong, do it again, please. And so with that, I kind of, I guess, brought it into the band, and they knew how to navigate it too, like naturally.
Yeah.
So like, we've got different symbols, like when we're on stage, like yeah, exactly. Different hand signals mean different things, like play it again, or cover me, or we're gonna end it, or holy shit, Hamish just broke every single string on his guitar and we gotta get out of here real quick. So like, any of those. Right. Yeah, it's cool.
You ready? I'm excited.
Okay.
So I
to here?
Oh, if you want at the end. I've been making a list, and
who's winning?
Jod is on top right now.
Man, is he the drummer for?
No, he's DJ. Oh no, Terrence.
Oh,
Terran is the drummer for Bad Money.
Right.
That band is unbelievable.
J.O.D.
Jod is an Irish DJ.
Okay.
He's actually doing a festival this year called Groove in the Wild.
Yeah.
It's on Canada Day weekend. I recommend people to go. I'm going.
We actually got asked to play that this year.
No way.
But unfortunately, like, I would do it as a solo artist.
Yeah.
Because, like, I just need my backpack, my guitar, maybe a couple of my PAs that I have at home.
Yeah.
But to move 4 people and a full band's gear.
Oh, I know what you mean.
And then 6 hours away, set up, sound check. It just wasn't feasible. So, like, honestly, we would love to play Groove in the Wild.
Yeah.
We're so happy, like, Eamon McHale gave us the contact for that. He's a good friend of mine. Yeah. And, maybe next year.
100%, definitely.
When we get, we can get more money.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay.
Here. So, just if anyone hasn't ever seen it or known the podcast yet, please like and subscribe. We definitely need to share it and build this podcast. Split the E. We have to get it down to the middle of the E in one go.
Is the G
same thing
different?
No, it's just a podcast.
Why do people say it's split the G, split the E?
The whole podcast started off this game, split the G, and then E stands for entertainment. So.
Oh, dude, that's a sick name. Oh my god, that's awesome. Okay,
all right,
let's launch it.
Cheers. Good luck. Oh my god, I undercut it way too much.
It's that haircut you got.
It's called the undercut.
Man, I'm usually pretty good.
I am.
Can we say like split the harp or something instead?
Can
you fix it in post?
We both got the harp, did we?
Yeah.
We just freeze frame it and then go back.
We're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
That's unreal. Well, tastes good anyway.
It does.
We're going back to your band. I want to talk about it. You wrote 2 songs and you shared it with me.
Yeah.
I'm fucking waking up in the morning and I'm singing them. Man. Honestly, I'm singing them in my head.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing them.
Yeah.
How did you go about writing them, and what's your protocol?
Okay.
How did that all?
So
like, just to go back to, you got the band, then you started like going out gigging.
Yeah.
How long into it did you start thinking, oh, let's fucking develop this more and start writing music?
Yeah, everything just like accelerated. It felt like we were like on Nitro or something.
Yeah.
It was like boom, band, jam sessions. Oh my god, first gig at Johnny Fox's.
Yeah.
And then Donnellan's, and then Donnellan's again, and then Celtic Fest. Like,
Yeah,
what is
yeah.
going on? But we had some downtime in between Celtic Fest and Donnellan's around December. So unfortunately, because we didn't plan for the band to be as successful, if you want to call it, as it is, people had vacations booked at awkward times. So I think Connor went away to New Zealand to go visit home. And meanwhile, me and Hamish were like just hanging out by ourselves. And Gary's a super busy guy, so we just kind of let him do his doctor thing. And Hamish was like, I want to start writing our own stuff. And I was like, oh, cool. I've got a full book.
No way.
Of like, not even words, just chords.
Oh.
Because I think...
Is this going back into you like setting goals and stuff for yourself?
Yeah. I feel like after I had we got the band together.
For just to cut in, from a person that at the start you said that you had ADD,
Yeah.
ADHD.
Yeah.
You're actually like thriving with it. You're making it work for you. You're doing everything.
Yeah, I think just to quickly talk about it, it's like
You cracked the coconut of it.
it's
anyway.
really at times a superpower,
Yeah.
and at times like the most detrimental thing
Yeah.
in the world. Like, I'm doing a bachelor's degree. I just love pain apparently right now. And noticing back in school, I'm like not touching any school. 3 months, don't want to look at it. I'm not interested. And then I'm like, oh shit, I have a month to write 4 essays. And then I just go, okay, here we go. And just bang it out. And
That's
so like,
unreal.
but then at other times too, I'm like, okay, it's time to get ahead on my schoolwork. And I'm like, I'll read a chapter today and I'll sit down and I can't see straight.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm reading the words. Okay, here we go. Oh, what's that sound? Oh, I should probably go vacuum now.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
like doing all these different things.
To be honest, I actually think I'm undiagnosed. I'm fucking.
I think a lot of
tweaky.
people are.
Yeah.
But yeah, the same thing kind of happened with our music. Because it's something that really focuses me, and I think it has to do with my hands. I like to keep my hands really busy all the time.
Yeah.
And so, like holding a guitar, all that kind of stuff, like, is like a way to kind of channel and make myself like calm.
Yeah.
And then, Hamish was like, let's hang out. And I said, okay. And at that time I was living in Kits, and I had like a basement suite. But I had like a mini studio, so I had a piano, some amps, my mic stands, my mics and everything, and we just would like hang out every Thursday and like work on stuff. And I think the first song I have ever written was that song I sent you, Hold the Door, the funky one.
The second one.
Yeah. And
Did you agree on what I said? That it starts off kind of like Red Hot Chili Peppers
Yeah.
and changes up a little bit?
It does actually. We didn't have that in mind.
Yeah.
I had like this chord progression written out that I was like, so I'll get like ideas in my head, and I have a red book that sits on my amplifier, and so like I'll wake up and be like, this is in my head, and I'll walk over, grab my guitar, play it, write it down. Okay, save it for later.
Yeah.
And so
That's like famously for the Beatles. That one song I think was like, We All Live in a Yellow Submarine.
oh yeah,
I don't know if it was a trip or a dream, but
hopefully both.
I think so. I think he was tripping and went to sleep and woke up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I just had that first chord progression that you hear, and then I showed it to Hamish, and then he went, okay, and then didn't hear anything from him. And then a week later, he had like a full song, like sort of written out. And I was like, holy shit. And he was like, yeah, I made this lead part and this, and I put programmed drums and stuff into it. And I was like, dude, this is like written already.
And
It was
but
like-
there was no lyrics.
No lyrics. And then one day he came over, we're having some beers, and we just sat down and worked on it. And then it all just like, boom, like poured out. And we just wrote it all down. And I was working with him, and I was like, I don't know what to do with the chorus. And he was like, I think you should do this. And then I was like, okay. So he made that work. But then actually today, I just rewrote the chorus.
Oh, no
into
way.
something cooler, I think. Because I think
right.
that song was a bit too cluttered. But the other one that you really like, the Sugar and Sun
I'm singing that
song,
in my head right now.
that one's still
Yeah.
where it's at. And so yeah, that was like that. And then Connor was still away. Hamish came back to me, and he was just, I think he was just playing those two opening chords in the Sugar and Sun song.
Yeah.
Over and over, and I wasn't even like paying attention. I was like probably like writing or
Just
like picking my nose or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I like look over and I was like, "What is that?" And he was like, "I don't know." And I was like, "No, that's something." And he was like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "It's not a song." He was like, "No." And then I was like, "Okay, let's write that down." We wrote it down, and we're like, "Well, we have two chords. Where do we go from here?" And I have like a chart on my wall. It's called the Circle of Fifths.
Okay.
But it's a really good musician tool and theory, but it gives you like a roadmap of like what chords will sound good and what will make you feel different ways. And it's like in like a circle, and so you can go around the chart and like you just figure out like what in Western music like sounds good.
You can use that for DJing as well. You can put it mixed in key. Kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you want, if you're playing like C and you wanted to go to the fifth, then you could like play a new song in G and like work your way up there. Yeah. And so we sat there and we were like, let's try this. And like we were like, I think, what is the first chord? Oh, it's an E minor. So then or an F. So that would be like the fourth. I guess we went to the fourth of that, and then stepped down. And then all of a sudden we had this whole like song written, but with no lyrics.
Yeah.
And then I think I did the same thing as Hold the Door. I just sat with him and I just wrote it all out at once.
That's so
like,
cool. Man,
ADHD was working today.
Yeah.
And I think because I had never written a song before these two, like ever, I think I had written one, but it was terrible. And I was like, maybe I'm not a songwriter. But
I can definitely say that I'll vouch for you. I can't wait. Just to hurry, to go on.
Yeah.
As you are a man that likes goals and sets goals.
Yeah.
When are you going to release it?
Dude.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's.
I would like to release the Sugar and Sun one.
Yeah.
This summer.
Nice.
It's obviously a band decision.
It's a summer song.
It is a summer song.
Yeah.
We have some really cool ideas for a music video. I think if we work really hard.
In the lyrics as well, it's like you're walking the seawall. And
Oh, I know.
Come on, man. Yeah.
So like, I think if we worked hard and we saved up, it's a lot of money to record a song.
Yeah.
And we just really put our hearts.
We are starting a GoFundMe page right now.
Yeah, dude. Buy our merch.
Yeah.
I think if we put our hearts in it and our heads in it and bared down and just really hammered this song out, I think it could make an appearance this summer maybe on Spotify.
Brilliant.
If not, we have a few ideas. One of them is we have those two fully done. We have a third one on the way, which is called Stiletto.
Cool.
Which is kind of about just like a wild night.
One night stand?
Where you... Yeah, it is! I was going to be a bit more elegant.
I'll get right into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, it is. It's about a one night stand. Then we've got a couple other ones. So we're trying to get in contact with the Anza. I've already talked to one of the
brilliant.
ladies.
Yeah.
I talked to one of the girls there. She runs the Roots Dweller showcase. And
I've actually been to one of them.
They're amazing.
They're fucking class, man.
But yeah, I think
I stumbled into it. I didn't even know it was on. I went out for my
Were you on a dolly and they just pulled you in?
No, I was dragged in.
And then back out?
It was my mate's birthday and we just randomly went in. And they was like, oh, there's a show on. We're
That's good.
This is fucking sick.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's a great thought. I think we want to debut our songs live for people.
Because you played that song.
I did, yeah.
Sugar and Soul.
Yeah. We did. It was just for you.
Anyone watching, shout it out because it is a fucking belter.
Okay.
Yeah. You'll be singing singing the song in the morning when you wake up.
Yeah. We want to like maybe do a live album kind of or EP like release at one of those things.
Yeah.
Paul Caldwell did an amazing job on his last album that he put out. He had a Roots Dweller showcase. And he fucking killed it, dude.
Yeah.
You got to get him on the show.
Oh, I know. I've been reaching out.
He's a hard man to pin down, but he's a busy boy.
He is.
Yeah. To rewind to like the singer-songwriter stuff, like I guess, me and Hamish watched this 1.5 hour TED Talk, like university lecture on songwriting, and I literally have notes in my red notebook, like a student, like what to do, what not to do.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I've got this framework, I have an idea, let's see if I can tie it in. And I just went to like a few things I wanted to say in the song that we were from Vancouver without telling anybody that I'm from Vancouver.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I think if you listen to the lyrics close enough, you could figure out where you were.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you could be like maybe in Santa Barbara and listen to it and make that same connection.
Yeah.
So it's obscure, but it's also really focused. And then I thought about the first date I ever went on with my girlfriend.
And this is Red Stiletto or a different?
No, not that one.
Right.
That's not a first one night stand.
I was just like, what? Maybe it was a one night stand and then continued on.
No, this is the Sugar and Sun.
Yeah.
Because our first date was actually at Kitts Beach, and we walked around on the seawall.
Yeah.
She was looking good in the summer.
Yeah.
And I checked out her tan.
Yeah.
That's in the song to you.
But is that like you want a sunny day in Vancouver?
Yeah.
You throw the glasses on and you're just walking down. Like,
when the sun comes out, all the Irish skin comes out.
Oh yeah, teabag tan.
Reflecting back into the sun. But so I channeled that and then wrote that out, and I think unintentionally, because there's no chorus in the first bit, but it all of a sudden just comes really fucking hard.
It does.
And goes.
But you're like telling that story then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, if you listen to the lyrics, I don't want to get too like technical about it because it was more of an accident, but we talk about how the summer's almost over.
Yeah.
Take me back to your room.
Yeah.
And so now we're kind of transitioning into fall, and then the way that Hamish and I kind of structured the chords and the guitar and the thrash, it like kind of makes it feel like there's a storm like kind of rolling in, 100%. And then Hamish just wails on his guitar and does a cool solo, and then we're out. Done. 3 minutes later. That's all I need.
How did it feel after like creating your first song? It must have been like that accomplishment was pretty cool.
It's really weird. I think I'd like to talk to like some other like Larry and like Paul about it, because I'm sure they feel the same way. But when you're sitting in like my studio and there's no sound, and all of a sudden an hour and a half later there's a 3-minute song with feelings, and it can convey a story and like and
what I since I've started this podcast, I've been listening to, I used to like listen to podcasts. Now since I'm doing this, I've been like listening to a lot of music and then looking into other artists and entertainers.
Exactly.
What I've gotten from music recently, and it's always new music, it's the emotion that comes through.
Yeah.
It fucking hits me. I don't know if that's me getting old and soft, man. I don't know, but it's so amazing that like music can do that to you.
It's weird because it's just like vibration.
Yeah.
That like stimulate your eardrum, and all of a sudden your eardrum is telling your brain that something's going on. Yeah. So it was weird. I think we finished the song and we both kind of sat there in silence. And in my head I was like, 2 hours ago there was no sound.
Yeah.
And now we have this thing that hopefully no one else in the world has created.
Yeah.
And maybe if we get lucky, and talk to the right people or know some people or get on a really cool podcast. Someone out there in the universe will see us and maybe give us a shot.
100%. I think you're worthy of it. Where can people reach you out and see ye and have any gigs coming up?
You can find us on Instagram at the moment. We're working on our tracks, guys. I'm sorry it's taking so long.
If just shout at them. Sugar and salt. Just
all
shout
the
at
time.
Them. It worked for me.
Yeah.
So, it's a belter.
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram at the moment. We hope to be on Spotify. We might be under a different name. I don't know.
Okay.
Matty and the Barge Boys is kind of like a funny cover band.
How did they come up with the Barge Boys?
Hamish lives across the street from Sunset Beach where the fucking barge crashed there. And I think one day jokingly he was like, "Oh, I'm a barge boy now. There's a barge on my front patio." And we were like, "Cool." And then the next week later they were like, "Oh, the band's called the Barge Boys." And I was like, "Okay."
That's brilliant.
So Instagram is the best way to contact us. We honestly reply to every message. Even if they're late, there's a few that get sent to spam or something, but we'll always go in there and we'll check and reply to people and talk to people because we really like growing the community.
Yeah.
And if you want us to perform at a gig or something, we'll talk to you. And if we can't do it, we'll send you someone else. So I think I sent Eamon to the Vancouver Rowing Club for their year
you
end.
did that last week, right?
Yeah. So they messaged us, and then I was like, "Oh man, I can't do it," but my buddy Eamon, I'll give you his
just how you
contact.
got started.
Exactly. But our big gig is gonna be June 2nd at the Canby Bar and Grill.
June 2nd.
Yeah, and
Brilliant.
so that's gonna be big. We're really trying to promote that one because I played at the Canby for 2 years, and I have a pretty good family there. And I just kind of got out of it because I was too busy, and I really was working with the band, and now we're bringing the band back in, so it's full circle.
Unreal. Your Instagram handle one more time?
Yes, it is Instagram.
Yeah. Facebook. Meta.
No,
Verse.
Instagram at Matty Miller Music. Matty Miller Music. And the Barge Boys have their own separate one called Barge Boys Music.
Unreal.
Yeah, so you can shout us out on there.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, man.
Dude, I'm so stoked.
Oh, yeah.
You really are doing something so...
I always fuck up. Do it again.
I think this is really good for our music community. And you kind of show your cards a bit by interviewing drag queens, by interviewing DJs.
It's entertainment, dude. That's what the E is for.
By interviewing musicians,
Yeah.
comedians. This is so sick, and I really hope this is going to be a really successful
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching the Split the E podcast. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and share videos of E trying to split the E or hitting the G. Yet again, thanks to Matty Miller.
Cheers.
Any relation to Mac Miller?
Mac Miller?
Yeah.
R.I.P.
I know.
Yeah, no.
I'm a big fan.
Cheers.
Cheers, man. I'm always awkward with that shit.
Nice.